मेरो नाम उज्जवल प्रसाई, म थेम्स इन्टरनेसनल कलेजको फ्याकल्टी र म राइटर, कलमनिस्ट, खास गरी लेख्ने पढ्ने रिसर्च गर्ने काम गर्छु। समाज विज्ञान भनेको सामान्यतः सजिलै बुझिन्छ, समाज बुझ्ने अभ्यास हो। समाज भनेको आफैमा जटिल हुन्छ, इट्स कम्प्लेक्स। सके पनि भने मैले मान्छेले कस्तो ठान्छन् भने जीवन जिउनु भनेको, एक्सपिरियन्स गर्नु भनेको, अनुभव लिनु भनेको बुझ्नु हो। कतिपय मान्छेले भनेको सुनिन्छ, पढेर होइन पढेर बुझिन्छ। पढेर मात्रै बुझ्न कोसिस गर्यो भने साह्रै सीमित हुन्छ बुझाइ, किनभने आफ्नो जीवन त आफ्नो मात्रै हो, त्यो अनुभव त आफ्नो मात्रै हुन्छ, त्यो असाध्य व्यक्तिगत हुन्छ र त्यसको सीमितता हुन्छ। त्यस कारणले यु निड टु गो बियोन्ड योर सेल्फ, यु निड टु थिङ्क। फर एक्जाम्पल, अ मेल has to read a lot written by women without understanding how women think. What are the experiences of women? A man cannot operate in a just manner. A man cannot live a good life. To live a good life, you need to understand, the gender disparity that exists in society. So for that, social science gives the space for that. This currently we need to. Even if you are a student of science, for example, even if you are pursuing medical science, where do you operate? Where does a doctor operate? Doctor operates in a very complex society where there are people who are gendered, who are divided into class, who are divided in caste. And if a doctor doesn't understand this complexity of society, then the doctor will not be able to work better, will not be able to work efficiently. So even if it's about engineering, even if it's about medical science, even if it's about management or accounting, it's necessary that you pay attention to these difficult questions of society, and social science is that space where you do that. Social science, in Nepal, it's a difficult question because, we generally, we send our kids to schools, to colleges to make them economically active, to make them sell themselves in the market. That's a valid thing. If you think about yourself, if you think about your children, then it's necessary that they go to market, they can sell themselves, they earn something, they lead a good life. That's very necessary and a valid way of thinking. But then if we only think human beings as economic entities, then I think we'll not be able to understand the complexity of human life and the society. So, but the idea has not been internalized very well by our policymakers, by our curriculum developers, by people working in the universities, by people working to produce knowledge. They have not realized this importance. I think that way because very less funding or very less support is there in social sciences. For example, we do not do a lot of researches. A student who does social science, a master's in social science, will not be able to get good fellowship and scholarships to pursue research. That's why there is a very less motivation towards, taking social science as higher education pursuit. एक लगानी असाध्य कम छ। जस्तो ह्युम्यानिटिज सोसल साइन्समा रिसर्च गर्छु भन्यो भने के भन्छ, त्यसमा चाहिँ मान्छेहरूले अथवा गभर्मेन्टले, अरू एजेन्सिजहरूले रिसर्च गर्ने, ज्ञान उत्पादन गर्ने कुरामा चाहिँ लगानी असाध्यै कम गर्छन्। त्यो लगानी कम गरेको कारणले मान्छेको आकर्षण असाध्यै कम छ। जस्तो मैले गरे, इफ आई गो एन्ड डु अ रिसर्च एन्ड एजुकेसन, विल आई बी एबल टु सेल माइसेल्फ भनेर कोही मान्छेले सोच्यो भने त्यसको लागि सहज आन्सर, सहज उत्तर हामीसँग छैन। त्यस कारणले मान्छेले आफ्नो इच्छाको लागि, आफ्नो रुचिको लागि त मान्छेले सोसल साइन्स ह्युम्यानिटिज पर्सु गर्छन्, तर म यसलाई प्रयोग गरेर म जीवन जिउन सक्छु भन्ने हिम्मतका साथ प्रयोग गर्न सक्ने स्थिति अलि छैन। तर त्यसको मतलब के होइन भने सोसल साइन्स पढेको मान्छेले कामै गर्दैन अथवा काम लाग्दैन अथवा मार्केटमा बिक्दैन, त्यस्तो हुँदै होइन। म आफै भनौँ न, हामी आफै काम गरेर बसेको छौँ। कोही पढाउने काममा होला, कोही रिसर्च गरिरहेको होला, कोही राइटिङ गरिरहेको होला, कोही सिनेमामा काम गर्दै होला, कोही फोटोग्राफी गर्दै होला, कहीँ न कहीँ सोसल साइन्स ह्युम्यानिटिजलाई इन्गेज गरिरहेको छ। त्यस कारणले स्कोप छैन भन्ने जति असत्य कुरा हो, सत्य कुरा चाहिँ के हो भने त्यसमा जति लगानी हुनुपर्ने, जुन किसिमले ध्यान दिनुपर्ने, त्यो चाहिँ कमी छ। First thing I think what we should do is we should blend the ethos of social sciences in all streams. For example, even in management, even social sciences, even a student who wants to pursue cinema or a student who wants to pursue information technology, all these streams should get some sort of rigorous social science exercise. I mean, one who is pursuing information technology should be able to think sociologically, should be able to think on some anthropological questions, should be able to have some historical sense in what he or she does, right? So if you take that ethos and mold your departments, your courses, your curriculums, then probably we can revitalize social science. That's one way. The other way is to increase funding in scholarships and fellowships. For example, a student who is doing a good research in his master's or probably in his BA as well. For example, these days we have 4-year BA. Last year is mostly devoted to doing practical works. Practical works means research works. If that research work is inviting, is having some scope to bring in some funding, some sort of financial support to students, then they will be doing quality research. If you do some quality research, if you make your students write quality papers, that will be the addition to the domain of knowledge. And that will bring some more investment, some more motivation towards the subject. So if you do 2-3 things at a time, if you revitalize your curriculum, if you bring in the ethos of social sciences, humanities, and the liberal arts ethos in all sorts of subjects that you're offering, then probably we can broaden the scope of social science and we can bring in many people. I don't like using the term brain drain. I mean, if you say brain drain or brain gain, then you are treating brain as a commodity. I don't want to do that. It's not just a commodity to be gained or to be drained, right? I mean, let the brains be. I mean, let them function the way they do, right? I mean, if somebody wants to go to, America and do some research, do some teaching there, work in the universities, why not? I mean, you should be able to do that. You need to encourage people to do that, right? Somebody wants to go to Middle East and teach and do research or writing. Somebody wants to settle down in India. I mean, that should be, that should be the case. But then at the same time, what you have to think, the way you should think is whether you create a conducive environment in the country for people to think and work towards the betterment of education, towards the betterment of social science, towards the betterment of humanities departments, whether you are doing something to make the environment conducive. That's the question, right? If you make a good environment where people can think about, doing interesting research. For example, I see a lot of stories in newspapers where they talk about divorces, right? Where they talk about different kinds of marriages that exist in Nepali society. But when you go and ask, when you try to find some experts in it, you don't find anyone who has done a good PhD in changing marriage relationships in Nepal, right? That means you don't have expertise. You haven't produced good number of experts who have done quality research on, changing marriage landscapes in Nepal, for example, right? Why don't people go to libraries these days? How many people have done good research, social science research on libraries? How many people have done good social science research on, consumer culture, for example, in Nepal? So we have not produced good number of experts in so many fields. I mean, we are that way. We are very, we have a lot of potential to bring in people and do some quality research. But the question is, how much are we investing towards that? If we do not invest, then we'll not be able to produce knowledge. If we do not produce knowledge, then people will not be motivated to pursue their studies here. So if you want to keep people here, if you want to hook people here, if you do not want to let people go outside with their skills and expertise, with their labor, with their bodies, right? Then you need to create a conducive environment here. Conducive environment is make your curriculum strong, make students go through a rigorous process of learning, make students do some quality research, make a such an environment where students feel that they are participating in the production of knowledge, not just the consumption of knowledge. What we are doing here is we're consuming knowledge. We're not producing any knowledge. If a student, internalizes the fact that he or they are participating in the production of knowledge, then probably they will continue here. They'll work here. They produce knowledge here, and they will feel some sort of ownership as well. So I think that's the way to go. I think the first thing to do is define prosperity, right? What is prosperity? For to have a good definition of prosperity, you need people who can think about, how can people live happily, right? What does happiness mean? For example, some countries in and around us have been thinking about gross national happiness these days. And they try to calculate that, gross national happiness. How many people are happy in this country? They want to quantify that. So if you think all these questions, then it's important that you think about human life, right? So to understand human life, to understand society, if you do some work, if you make people participate in it, then they will be contributing very positively to the development of a country. For example, we have installed a new system in Nepal. That is a federal system. We have a federal setup now. What do you do to make this federalism work better? You need people to think about that question. If you have enough people thinking about that question, then you are supplying a lot of information, informed ideas to policy making. That will make federalism work better. So that will, help country to prosper. That will help country to do economically well, right? So, first thing is you need a big domain of knowledge. You need a big repertoire of knowledge and experiences. For that, you need to do a lot of research. And that research can be done with social sciences, with economics, with history departments, with political science, with sociology, with anthropology, and including literature. So if you have this kind of, interdisciplinary enterprise, if you have your universities where students doing economics, for example, a student is pursuing economics and doing some sort of research on how people who have gone abroad can support Nepal economically. They can go to a literature department and read about some literature written by people about the laborers working in the foreign countries. How did they earn money? How are they sending that money back? And where are they spending? Probably some literary pieces can help this economics students to broaden his idea. So that way you can contribute to the economic prosperity. You cannot see a direct relation. More people become knowledgeable, educated in social science. That does not probably translate into earning a lot of money. But then that can help in many indirect and direct ways for the prosperity of the country. We can think about the example of artificial intelligence. What will be its impact on reading, writing, on education, on pedagogy, on technology, on industries, on many aspects of our life? How does AI impact our life? Who are the people thinking about this question? Is it a good idea to only have people doing IT think about the question of artificial intelligence? Or should we have so many people doing social science and humanities thinking about what artificial intelligence can do? For example, we have ChatGPT these days. We have Google Bard, and Microsoft is also coming up with other kinds of artificial intelligence powered apps and so many kinds of programs which are language-based computational programs, where a lot of writing is happening with the help of AI. Many people are also trying to come up with books with the help of AI. Teaching has been affected. Pedagogy exercise has been affected. So who will be doing this research on the impact of AI on several aspects of our life? I was talking about pedagogy. I was thinking about classroom exercise. I was thinking about social science enterprises. How does this AI impact our life? So if we have people on social science departments, on humanities departments, thinking about how does this impact our life, then I think we'll be kind of preparing ourselves to face the challenge. This is going to be a big challenge. This doesn't just give us ample opportunities to grow. This also comes along a lot of challenges. How do you respond to these challenges? You can respond to these challenges only if you have knowledge, only if you have enough information, only if you have enough insights, only if you have enough thinking, right? And who will be doing all this thinking? People just use AI. People just rely on artificial intelligence and do their stuff. But people will not be thinking about difficult questions that will affect all aspects of our life. Who will be doing this thinking? So, if you have a robust social science department, if you have a robust humanities department, and if you invite these people And also at the same time, if you let your IT students also do some thinking in terms of society, in terms of how it affects, our socio-economic and cultural life, then you'll have enough knowledge to prepare yourself to face the challenges. So this can be a very interesting opportunity for social science students, for social science research. This was just one example. There are many things where you can think about. As I said in the very beginning of my talk, that, have we been thinking about water in Kathmandu? Think about, 20 years down the line in Kathmandu, will we be able to get enough drinking water? If a condition comes where so few people only have access to pure drinking water, what will be the condition? Will it invite a lot of violence? If that happens, then how will you tackle that problem? How will you respond to that problem? It's just a technocratic issue, or it has larger other dimensions as well, including social, including cultural dimensions as well. If you have cultural dimensions to the problem, then you need to have people to think about this, to prepare yourself to face the challenge that's coming 20 years down the line. So these are so many issues. There are so many issues where you can make people think about difficult questions. If you think about these questions, then the answer is there, right? You can revitalize social sciences. You can bring in a lot of information. You can inform policy. You can inform politics. You can inform your classroom exercise. You can inform your conversations. You can inform your media exercise, and help people to think about these difficult questions. Thames is, we are trying our best here. For example, we are sitting in a library of Thames where it has a good collection of very interesting books in literature. We encourage management students to study literature. We encourage social science students to pick up books on economics. We encourage people to think about information. We encourage people to think about artificial intelligence. So, Thames is such a space where we are trying our best to create a, very interdisciplinary kind of, ambience where a management student would come and take, for example, in the very beginning when they come to this college, we have orientation session, we have 0 semester, where we encourage our students to think about critical thinking, right? A management student will read 1 or 2 texts on critical thinking and start thinking critically about the course that they do. For example, they start asking very interesting critical questions to the subjects they have chosen. For example, accounting. Why are they studying accounting? For example, social work student comes and starts thinking about why social work has to be an academic discipline, right? So this is all an effort towards creating an interdisciplinary environment where people think, where people bring a lot of insights from other disciplines and think about the questions that they are grappling with. Think about the real object of their orientation, of their course. For example, what is the object of management course? Is how to manage an institution probably, or how to make your bookkeeping very efficient. When a student is thinking about bookkeeping, this student also thinks about other aspects of social life. So if this student has the space to think about other aspects of social life, his idea of bookkeeping will be robust. We work towards that approach, right? We're trying our best to do that. So we encourage our students to think about writing, make their writing quality. We want to enhance the quality writing for our students because we have a writing center. We invite a lot of students in our writing center where there will be students, senior students, and there will be teachers, instructors to help them. One, we have good library, as I said earlier, where students are encouraged to make forays to several disciplines and pick up books from several disciplines too. We have symposium, social work symposium, where we invite many experts in the field. For example, some people working on cinema and trying to bring in the issues of LGBTIQ+, try to bring in the issues of mental health in cinema, try to bring in the issues of, other so many aspects in literature and cinema. We invite these kinds of people, we make them talk, we encourage our students to go and participate in these discussions so that they can think interdisciplinarily. So Thames, for that matter, is a very interesting space for students to take this interdisciplinary enterprise forward. New generation people have access to internet, have very easy access to books, very easy access to technologies. So they have the confidence. They have the confidence that, if they put a little bit of effort, then they can understand things very well. But at the same time, we need to make them internalize the fact that it is important to actually think about difficult questions and ready-made answers that you find in Facebook, one-liner answer that you find in TikTok, very easily available information in internet may not help you understand the density and complexity of the problem that you're grappling with. For example, if you're going through a mental issue, for example, you go to Google and check. That will give you a lot of ideas about mental health. But is it enough? Is it such a simple question that a Google can answer this very easily? The information that you find in some few web pages, is it enough for you to think about this mental issue that you're going with and that you're tackling with? I think if that's not enough, then you need to go to books. If that's not enough, then you need to, talk about it with your friends. If that's not enough, then you need to go and talk to your teachers or find a community where you can think about this difficult question. How do you do that? If you make students think about it, then you can make them realize the importance of doing social science. Then you can make them realize the importance of doing psychology. And psychology alone may not help it. Psychology, if you combine it with sociology, for example, or if you have some historical sense at the same time, and if you can see the historical trajectory of mental health in Nepal, if you can trace some ideas in terms of social relationships, then probably you will have a better understanding of any issue that you are thinking about. If you make students internalize this fact that you can work in a team, you can work with a community, you can work that in a classroom with the help of books, with the help of interesting research done by other people, with the help of other people who are thinking along similar lines, who are also doing some sort of research along similar lines. If you bring all these things together on a table, you'll be able to think through the question very interestingly. If you make them realize, then they enjoy doing social science. And at Thames, we are trying best towards that. Students are encouraged to think on the questions independently, and we are trying them to read, difficult, tough texts. We are making them, be loyal towards the research-based writings. So through that, we are inviting our students to participate in this interdisciplinary exercise. Nepali society has gone through a lot of changes. There has been, if you see it, carefully, then you see a paradigm shift in terms of politics. We have gone through a lot of political turmoils in the last few decades, right? If you think about Maoist insurgency, think about Madhes movement, think about women's movement, think about Janajati movement, think about all sorts of other movements going on, and it has changed a lot. But we are in a very critical juncture. I mean, if you think geopolitically, we have India and China, we have American influence, we have so many other kinds of influences, we have information technology, we have internet, we are connected. So if you think about human life in Nepali society at this juncture, then you'll realize the complexity. It has become more complex, it has become more serious, it has become more difficult. So at this time, if you have many people, if you have a number of people, when I see students coming to Thames, for example, new semester students, a student who is coming with a lot of dreams, for example, I ask every student who I meet for the first time, right, what do you want to do in your life? What is your aspiration? And many people say that we have come here to make ourselves professionally efficient, right? And that's the valid answer. But as I said, we are going through a very critical time where we are facing economic recession in a way, and also there's a huge disillusionment in terms of politics. I remember the time when we were very euphoric during 2006-07 change. But that has dissipated, right? People are disillusioned by leaders. All sorts of corruption issues have come up. So people are not being able to trust their leaders, trust the system that is in place. That is a difficult time. So at this difficult time, it is important that you give them some hope. You also create a conducive environment where students can think independently and at the same time make them professionally efficient. So probably Thames is such a space where we give some sort of independence to students, make them think about this critical juncture that we are in. For example, I had offered a course on political thoughts last semester to students who are doing psychology, who are doing rural development, who are doing journalism. That was a kind of combined course where people thought about how environmental challenges are coming up and how we can deal with those, how we should be thinking about those questions. Student doing psychology is thinking about this environmental crisis through the course. That means we are inviting students and we are letting them do some independent thinking on these questions. So through these exercises, I think we can bring a sort of change, right? And make students feel that, internalize that they are the agent of positive change in the society. Through that, we are trying to instill some hope. अब जसले +2 पास गरिसक्नु भएको छ या A-levels गर्नुभएको छ, जसलाई चाहिँ अब जीवनमा अगाडि कसरी बढ्ने भन्ने मनमा धेरै प्रश्नहरू होला, कुन विषय पढ्ने भन्ने अलमल पनि हुनसक्छ सँगै, त्यसमा आफैले सोच्ने हो पहिलो कुरा त। तर थेम्समा आउनुभयो र हामीसँग कुरा गर्नुभयो भने या थेम्स इन्टरनेसनल कलेजमा भएको एक्टिभिटिजहरू हेर्नुभयो भने यहाँ तपाईँले के गर्न सक्नु होला, तपाईँको आफ्नो रुचि कसरी अगाडि बढाउन सक्नु होला भन्ने उत्तर पनि सम्भवतः पाइएला एउटा। अर्को चाहिँ तपाईँले रिजल्भ गर्नुभयो, इफ यु हेभ रिजल्भ द्याट you'll be pursuing psychology or you'll be pursuing management or you'll be pursuing some sort of IT courses, then we welcome you here and we guarantee that you'll be given ample space to think about the questions that you grapple in your life, personal life, that you grapple in your social life. And at the same time, we give you, we offer you very interesting courses in terms of where you can think about how you can shape your career, how you can become a very good professional, at the same time how you can become a very good human being who can think independently and decide independently. त्यस कारणले +2 सकेको साथीहरू चाहिँ धेरै अल्मली राख्नु पर्दैन। थेम्स इन्टरनेसनल कलेज तपाईँको लागि राम्रो स्पेस हुनसक्छ। हामीसँग आएर गफ गर्नुभयो, हामीले अहिलेसम्म एक्सपिरियन्स गरेको कुराहरू सुन्नुभयो र हामीले गरेको एक्टिभिटिजहरू हेर्नुभयो भने तपाईँले आफ्नो विषय के चुज गर्नेदेखि लिएर चुज गरेको विषयलाई कसरी राम्रोसँग अगाडि बढाउने र कसरी सक्सेसफुल बन्ने भन्ने कुरामा तपाईँहरू क्लियर बन्न सक्नु होला।